in August, and being prepared like we were informed and what to expect, I think really helped us have a smoother start compared to the PVUSD schools. Because like I said, I had my cousin telling me, where should we log in, or where should we haven't received any calls, or nobody has told us what to do for the first day. And that's, I think, is the most important, having communication with the parents more than anything, and in both languages. That's what really I could say that SABA has done that.
Well, thank you. And this sounds like Imelda. Is this Imelda?
Sorry, yes, this is Imelda.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for joining. And thanks for those comments. All right. Any other comments on the learning continuity plan, which is addressing the impact that COVID has had on our community and what SABA has done to respond?
So this is Rocio. I'm just gonna say that I agree. I feel like SABA has been doing an amazing job. I feel like my student is doing wonderful, and she can always reach out to her teachers and they respond very quickly. So I'm very pleased with the help that everyone at SABA is providing.
Thank you. Okay, any other comments at this time?
I'll just jump in here and say that I'd like to offer congratulations to the staff. It's wonderful to come to a board meeting and have, you know, 3 separate parents with 3 separate experiences talk about what a great job SABA is doing. So kudos to the SABA staff on a job well done.
Thank you, Michael. Okay. Well, I think at this time, then we can close the hearing on the learning continuity plan. And this doesn't mean that there's still not more opportunities to provide input. We'll be talking about this tomorrow evening. And then, like I said, a survey will be going out to all of you as well to provide input there.
And then it will be brought back to the board on September 1st, where we will vote to approve it, correct?
That is accurate.
Okay, so I think at this point we'll close the public hearing and return to open session and action items. The first item that we have is consent agenda, which includes an addendum to the staff handbook on prevention of violence in the workplace policy. Mr. Rip?
Yes, so this was asked, or we were required to include this in our staff handbook by our insurer CharterSafe, and they gave us the language. So it's just a basic document stating that violence in the workplace is not acceptable under any means, and it goes into details of what that could look like and the consequences for that.
Any questions or comments on the addendum?
Nope.
Great, then it's the only item on the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve?
I'll second that.
That was Mary and Olivia, it looked like.
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to item B, which is the charter draft. A draft of our charter renewal. Mr. Rip?
So in the text, what I wanted to provide to all of you today was a first look at our draft. We still hope to submit this charter to the district at the end of this month and at the earliest, the first week of September, so that we can have it agendized in a hearing with the PVUSD board by the end of October or early November. The draft has been vetted by multiple SABA administrators, charter consultant, as well as a lawyer who just looks over to make sure we're in compliant with all the current state regulations involving charter schools. I don't know if any of you had a chance to read it and if you have any questions, but my goal was to kind of have this place as an opportunity for us to discuss what is contained in the draft, as well as giving me the authority after I send this once more to our lawyers to ensure that everything is compliant there, and then giving me the authority to make this a final copy to send out to the Pajaro Valley Unified School District.
So Josh, for the new board members, it might be good just to go over or try to summarize as much as possible, right? The 15
Yeah.
elements, so that they have an idea of what is required in a charter petition and renewal.
Yes, great suggestion. So when Mary mentions the 15 elements, those are what are required to be included in any charter that is written in the state of California. And so just to go through this briefly, element 1 discusses our educational program, and this is off of the table of contents. Elements 2 and 3 talk about or discuss measurable student outcomes and methods for measuring student progress. Element 4 discusses governance structure. 5, employee qualifications, so ensuring that we have appropriately credentialed teachers and administrators at all positions. 6, health and safety procedures. 7, student population balance, ensuring that we're not discriminating against students with disabilities or discriminating against any students for any reason. Element 8 is admission policies and making sure that we have a blind public lottery if there's more than demand than we have seats available, which we do, and we also have a blind public lottery. Element 9 discusses the annual independent audit, and we do that annually. And we're already in communication with our auditor for this year's audit, which will take place in December. Element 10 discusses suspension and expulsion procedures and how SABA's discipline system works. Element 11 is the retirement system, and so what benefits SABA employees qualify for through either CalPERS or CalSTRS. Element 12 is public school attendance alternatives. 13 is employee return rights, so their rights as employees to employment. 14 is dispute resolution, and then 15 are closing procedures. And then at the very end, we have some kind of miscellaneous provisions about our insurance, our facility, oversight responsibilities, and we also discussed the civil liability and the civil litigation that we just are closed up last year. So that I know is a lot to take in, and it's a big document. It just including the appendixes, it ends up being a little bit over 170 pages. But the idea here, 188, thank you, is that we want to make sure that we're truly complying with everything that's contained in this document, so it accurately reflects what we're doing and what we hope to do. And so when we think about this as the charter itself, it's like a promise, basically. Here, Pajaro Valley Unified School District, this is what SABA promises to do for the next 5 years, between 2021 and 2026. Then hopefully they will review it and say, okay, this seems appropriate. We will grant you that charter to continue to operate during those 5 years. The district's board has the authority to grant us those 5 years. They could grant us less than 5 years if they felt like that was what was appropriate, or they could make suggested changes to our charter. And so one of the goals too is that we get that full 5 years, and that we also don't have any changes that the district board asked from us.
So Josh, since I wasn't around for the initial or the last renewal, was there anything that the district was looking for or had concerns about, or just something that was on their radar that we should be aware of? That's all. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And I will be honest, I started the year after this was approved, and so I was not around for that second reauthorization of the charter.
Okay.
And so basically what we've done is just tried to craft a narrative and a set of promises that we feel accurately reflects our school. And like any school, there's some areas where that we still need to grow. And so when I think about how will the district look at us, I think, okay, there are some, in certain grade levels and subject areas, maybe we could do a little bit better on academic performance. And then in certain areas, we could maybe do a little bit better on maybe a certain compliance with certain rules. And so we're always looking to get better. But the idea here is that we are running an excellent program and we want to continue to do that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So another question,
Yeah.
and this might be for the benefit also to the newer members is, so what are the reasons a school may not get renewed for? What are the biggest reasons? I know financial, but I don't know if that's the primary.
So performance and finances are the two big areas. I'm going to give my answer, and then Nick Driver's on the call, and so I would love it if he could provide some additional context. But from my understanding, if a school looks like its budget, if it doesn't have the finances to continue to operate without being having to go to the district frequently for funding, or you couldn't provide a appropriate free and appropriate school education to your students, then they would say, okay, you might need to discontinue with your charter. And then if we had really poor academic performance, that would be another reason for the district to kind of give us a second look and say, we don't know if this charter is appropriate for our district. Nick, am I missing anything there? Can you expand on that?
I mean, those are the two main reasons. You're absolutely correct, Josh. I would say that the board, and thank you, Mary, for asking these questions. The board has a special relationship to not only the school, of course, as you're the governing board, but also to this charter petition. So what you're doing tonight is kind of affirming that you are owning everything that has been written in this large 188-page document. And this is to the best of their ability, and I think it's a great job encapsulating everything that CEBA is and will be for the next 5 years. And so the third less well-known sort of point of weakness for some charter schools is governance. So fiscal is definitely the number one, and you guys have a role in fiscal. And as you will see in this charter, there's a 5-year budget in one of the appendices that it reflects accurately what the staff and DMS believe will be the finances over the next 5 years, but it also just reflects the overall school and of course the academic program. So while you're not expected to know every detail in this long document, it is a best practice to kind of attest to the school's health with the authorizing board, and you're all encouraged to participate in that when it does go into that board process at PVUSD next month, I guess. So I just want to mention that in addition to those two obvious areas of academics and finances that many schools that are not doing well are tripped up on, governance is another one that kind of goes hand in hand with everything at the school, because you're the governing board. But this is a great opportunity for all of you to continue asking staff questions about what's in there, because it is your school, and therefore it is your document that is being proffered to PVUSD for a recommendation for approval for another 5 years. I will also say that, Josh, you're absolutely right that now with the new laws, it is possible that the authorizing school board could give you less than 5 years. They can also give you more. So in the future, one goal of having even better academic scores than you have now, and they're already impressive, would be to be considered for a 7-year approval. Right now, I think CEBA is up for and is most likely to get a 5-year, which has always been historically the most common. But now with these new laws, it does allow authorizers to give both more and less, depending on how your academics are in the previous years of your charter. So I'll just leave it there.
And Josh, I'm going to need to jump out of the meeting now. I'm on another board, a chair of another board, and I'm have a meeting at 6 o'clock with them. So I'm going to jump off. Fortunately, we have a quorum, so I think we can cover everything. I think the charter document is a very impressive document. And I have no issues with the consolidated application items either. So pardon my having to leave early. Also, another item, hopefully, Josh, you can take up with the board members, is the fact that I won't be able to attend the September 1st meeting. And if somebody could cover for me to chair that, that would be wonderful. But I'm going to have to jump off now. Thank you very much, and great work. And I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
See you, Michael.
So my question, just to piggyback on what, or to ask Nick, is, which I didn't realize, I know there was always a 5-year, the max renewal. So new laws have said now that you can go up to 7.
That's right.
Okay.
And it really is very formulaic. So as I mentioned earlier, you have to have a certain academic progress set of scores, if you will, in order to be eligible for that. And that's dictated not by the district, it's dictated by the state law, the new state law, AB 1505. So I'm fairly certain that SABA doesn't quite get to that point. There's only 5% of all charters in the whole state that do fall into that highest category. 90% of charter schools fall into where I believe SABA is now, which is the normal category. Your scores are impressive, but not quite up to that. You have to have basically all blues and greens on the dashboard in order to be eligible for that 7 years.
Thank you.
It'll be an aspirational goal for us for the next go around with this.
Definitely.
Josh, I'll just ask the question about what, if anything, you know about the cycle of PBUSD meetings. Are you shooting for a certain board meeting so that board members of SABA can put potential dates on their calendars now?
Yes, so this is going to depend a little bit on when we submit it, is when that clock starts tolling. And so, no, I don't have a set date yet. But once it's submitted and I receive word back of when that's going to be agendized, I'll let all of the board members know immediately. So we should have a date by early September as to when that would take place in late October or early November.
And since there's a lot of members of the public here, I will just add that what I said applies to members of the SABA community, not just the board. The way to impress an authorizing board is to have members of the community come out and speak publicly. Certainly board members, but also other members of the community as well. And I'm sure Josh will give you a lot more detail about what he would like you to do and when he would like you to come and what he would like you to say closer to the date.
Thanks, Nick. And yes, I will absolutely do that. Okay. So with Michael having left, I'm wondering if either Mary or Olivia would like to step into the role of running the remainder of the meeting. And that would require one of you to just ask for motions to approve both this and the next agenda item.
I can take care of that.
Thank you.
So is there any further comments, questions for Josh on the petition? Seeing none, can we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So Larry makes the motion and a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Olivia. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we move on to the CONAP. So you want to tee us up for that, Josh?
Absolutely. Yeah, so the consolidated application is completed annually, as it says in the text, if you're on the agenda. And basically this is, in this application, we list out how we're spending our Title I and federal funds. And these are called categorical funds because they need to be spent in certain categories. There is some leeway depending on what category it is, and certain categories can be kind of overlap with one another. But basically, funds that we receive from the federal government are designated to serve specific student populations, often case. And in these documents, we describe how much funds we received, as well as the services we provided to our students who fit these different designations, such as English learners, or such as homeless students, or how we're using our funds to support students on health and safety. And so all of that's listed in these 3 reports here. There's 3 documents, which is the CONAP from the 18-19 school year, the CONAP from the 19-20, and then the 2021 is a certificate of assurances, which basically says this is what we're promising to do. Another promise similar to the draft charter.
So I know, at my August 11th meeting, we did exactly the same one. And
Okay.
usually it's done in June, but there was a delay because of all the issues with finances and that kind of stuff. So the window had opened in July, and it has to be approved by, the 17th, I think, of August. And again, it goes through 3 years, right? As Josh was saying, just shows where we spent the monies, right? And that, again, what Josh had said about what we're going to do for the current year and the funds and what we're applying for. So I saw no issues with them. Does anybody on the board have questions on the CONAP? Don't speak up all at once. Okay, seeing none, can I have a motion to approve the CONAP?
I'll go ahead and motion to approve.
Thank
I'll
you.
second. I'll second it.
Thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And I think that's the end. Isn't it at the end?
That is the end of the meeting. So we do need to make a motion to, oh no, we have one more item, excuse me. We have a closing item. So as Michael mentioned earlier, he has a time conflict where he would not be able to attend the meeting on 9/1. We can keep it there if everyone else on this call can attend and he is okay with that. I think he stated that before he left. Or we can move it to a different date in September. So I just wanted to open that up to the board members in attendance today.
It works for me. I'm going to be gone the following week, so I
Okay.
prefer it.
Do we know more or less if we'll still have a quorum? Everybody still able to meet that date?
On the 1st, right? You're saying?
Yes.
Yes, I can still make
It
it.
should be okay. Perfect.
So wait, so we're either meeting on the 1st without Michael or moving it to a different date with Michael?
That is accurate.
And I can do either.
Yeah, me too.
It's always nice to have as many, or if not all, board members. So I can go either way.
All right.
Will everybody not do the 15th?
1 second. Michael just sent me an email. Let me just read it because he said he didn't like the 15th either. Let me 1 second.
In general, I would just say while you're waiting, Josh, unless there's anything pressing that needs to be approved, it is absolutely fine as long as you're giving 72 hours notice to have a meeting date change. You have got a calendar out for the whole year, but that's a fairly small matter. Not too many members of the public are going to be bothered as long as you're giving 72 hours notice for a new meeting or a meeting date change.
And
Yeah, I think one of the more important things for us to consider for the upcoming meeting is that we will likely have our unaudited actuals that have to be reviewed by the 15th.
right, that's what I was going to say.
So Michael wrote me and he said that he would not prefer the 15th because that is in conflict with his Save Our Shores board meeting, but he could do 9/8 or 9/22.
Well, it sounds like, I mean, the deadline has to be before the 15th, right, for UAs to be approved. So you could either do it cutting it a little close, but could do it on the 15th without Michael, or you could do it on the 8th with
You
him.
know what also too is if you talk to your district, I know for us, we've handed in our unaudited actuals. Last year was the first time that we handed it in prior to the 15th, but generally they'll allow a delay in that. If
Oh,
it's important, they will. So I
okay.
know we're not going to bring ours to board until the 22nd.
Oh, okay.
So I can do either.
Me too.
Sometimes when we're doing, big items, it's good to have, especially the board president there, right?
All right, I agree. So I'm going to make a proposal. We have lots of different things on the table. How about 9/8? It gives us plenty of time before the due date, and it allows Michael to be there and hopefully everyone else. Does September 8th work for everyone?
That's
Yes.
my board meeting.
Oh, okay. All right.
I can probably do only an hour because I'm going to be out of town and I'm scheduled for, but I can probably do an hour.
On the 8th.
Yes.
We may just want to leave it at the first because it's
I think
a
so.
little too
Yeah,
complicated.
why don't we just leave it at the first and
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be best.
okay. And then, sorry, just to wrap up, last bit of business. I usually meet with Michael Friday prior to the board meeting on a Tuesday. Mary, if you feel comfortable running the meeting, could I meet with you on that Friday prior?
Sure. Friday, let me look at the date, the 28th.
Correct.
Okay. Sounds good.
I'll send you an invite.
Sounds good.
Okay. So can we get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Aye.
Oh, is that you, Larry?
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, sorry. Who made that motion? Sorry.
No, I misspoke. I meant, can we go to that last part? I didn't mean to make a motion.
So we,
I'll make a motion.
thank you, Olivia.
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting
Aye.
adjourned.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
I will just say, if anybody wants to talk offline, I'm going to stay on for a few more minutes and talk about board stuff with the upcoming charter petition and anything else you want to talk about. But otherwise, goodbye.
Bye.
I have a 6 o'clock, so I would stay on because I wanted to hear some of that, Nick. I'll stay on for a few minutes. I have a meeting that started already, but I'll stay on.
Well, I don't have anything specific. This is not agendized. I just want to be clear that the meeting is over.
Right.
So
Oh,
this-
no, I definitely know the meeting's over. Yeah.
informal, just back and forth. But I have said to each one of you, I think, and also to Josh that, if it's useful, I'd be happy to talk with all of you, which is actually